Once again, back to the class. Yes. Now, let us see what is this little boy. He sees about his view towards school. If we ask you to recall your childhood memories, one by one, if I ask Rama, Krishna, Govinda, Shaila, Suma, Apeksha, Anupama, whatever you are, all children, they recall the event when their parents scolded, when they fall down, all negative points or negative experiences. None of them recall, none of them in the sense 99% of them won't recall the childhood memories in which their parents brought them two dresses together or brought them a gold chain, or their mother prepared a delicious food for them which is their favorite, or the mother who hugged them and made them to sleep on her shoulders. Are not these sweet memories? Yes, they are much sweeter, which should be remembered. But people will be longing for that, but forget that. Yes, let's see. I love to rise in the summer morn when the birds sing on every tree. The distant huntsman winds his horn and the skylark sings with me. Oh, what sweet company. In school you'll get many friends, but the schoolboy, he wishes to be the friends whom he get in nature. I love to rise in the summer morn. Morn means morning. He loved to rise, get up. Rise means get up. In the summer morning, when the birds sing on every tree. So the birds start to chirp early in the morning. They are not lazy. We, if it is holiday, we get up at 7, 8, 9, 10, sometimes 11, because we sleep late at night. Because we will be busy with some other work. Maybe work which is not useful. Right? Whatever it may be. He says that he loved to rise, he loved to get up in a summer morn when the birds sing on every tree. Birds starts to chirp. They go to get their food early in the morning. The distant huntsman winds his horn. From a distance, distant huntsman, he winds his horn. Winds means sounds. Horn means pipe. And the skylark sings with me. Skylark means a small singing bird which sings when it flies high up in the sky. Why this distant huntsman winds his horn? You know, these hunters, they go for forest and wait the whole night to get some prey, but they won't sometimes. You know, many of these nocturnal animals, they'll be active at night and they bring near water resources early in the morning to quench their thirst. They'll be eating their food, meat and all, and in the morning, early in the morning, they come near the water resources. When they suddenly hear this horn, listen this horn of these huntsmen, they scatter and run everywhere so that this hunter can kill them easily. That's why this huntsman or hunter, he winds his horn early in the morning, standing, hiding behind a tree near water resources. There, many of the wild animals come there to quench their thirst. And the skylark sings with me. Even we did the same, right? When the cuckoo bird sings, we sing with that. We like to sing. We enjoy it. The cuckoo bird repeats. Again we repeat. Right? Yes. Oh, what a sweet company. He likes the company of this huntsman's horn, skylark, the birds which chirple early in the morning. But to go to school on a summer morn, we had to go to school in summer morning. Oh, it drives all joy away. It takes away all my happiness. It drives all joy away means it takes away all my happiness. Under the cruel eye out own. Mechanical teaching out own means old fashioned. Under a cruel eye out own. If you are late for the class, why are you late? If you didn't do the homework, why didn't you do the homework? If you struggle in the place where you're sitting, can't you sit properly? Yes, these refers cruel eye out own. Out own is old fashioned. Like all these teachers do traditionally from forefathers to forefathers from many centuries. The little ones spend the day. The little ones means small boys, small children, students. They spend the day under a cruel eye out own. This old-fashioned cruel eye. The children spend their day in sighing and dismay. Sighing means taking a long breath of sorrow and dismay. They don't like to be there. Oh my goodness, at what time this class will finish? At what time this 4 o'clock will come? At what time we'll be free? So as soon as the last bell rings, they just fly out with a very good mood. Why? Just as someone is released from the jail. Small children, they enter the class itself, school itself, with toddling steps. Toddling steps means unsteady steps, holding their parents' hand, unwillingly seeing their parents and the teacher. The parents, they wish their children to be excellent in their life, and they leave their children with much more polishing words. They hand over these children to the teacher. The teacher, with a smile, she makes all the children to gather in a room. Room in the sense classroom only. But it's not the outside ground where the children can play. Right? Actually, these LKG, UKG, pre-KG children can play inside the class, but in a particular time and a limited games with the playthings which are provided with the teacher. But normally, children like to play in mud, soil, water, natural things. But it's not possible for the teachers to provide soil, water, mud and all in the school. So they get bored off. But to go to school in a summer morn, why? Sighing. It drives all joy away. Under a cruel eye out own, the little ones spend the day in sighing and dismay. Sighing means take a long breath of sorrow. But then at times I droopingly sit. Droopingly means a feeling of discourage, bending forward. They droopingly sit. Then at times I droopingly sit and spend many an anxious hours. Anxious means here worried hours. And spend many an anxious hour. Nor in my book can I take delight, nor sit in learning's bower, worn through with the diary shower. And spend many an anxious hour. droopingly sit. I means here the child, not myself. I droopingly sit, I collapse, I bend my whole body and sit and spend many an anxious hour. Why many an anxious hour? He is waiting for the last bell. Yes. And spend many an anxious hour. Nor in my book can I take delight. Delight means happiness. Happiness. Nor sit in a learner's bower. Learner's bower means he can't be happy being a learner. Worn through with dreary shower. This sad and dull procedure. I am worn out. I am fed up of this dull and worn out procedure of teaching. He asks, how can the bird that born for joy sit in a cage and sing? A bird which is born for joy, born to enjoy. How can it sit in a cage and sing? How can a child when fears annoy, but droop his tender wing and forget his youthful spring? His spring means the season spring. How can a child when fears annoy, he is feared of the teacher. She may scold. If I turn to my friend to talk, she may scold. If I scribble in my book, she may scold. If I won't listen to her, she may scold. In that fear only the child sits in the class. How can a child when fears annoy, but droop his tender wings? His soft, tender means soft. His tender wings and forget his youthful spring. That childhood, it's a springy time, the enjoyable time, you can't get it back. Aja bachpan ek baar fir de de apni nirmal shanti. I heard Subhadra Kumari Chauhan's one poem in my young days. So that cool peace of satisfaction we never get after that. So as much as possible we had to enjoy our childhood. A child should enjoy its childhood. It had to cling into the child's mind in such a way that whenever worries make it to struggle, it should be able to recall these so springy, so enjoyable days of its childhood and be fresh himself. How can the bird that born for joy sit in a cage and sing? How can a child when fears annoy but droop his tender wings and forget his youthful spring? Now, in this stage, he questions his parents. He questions his parents, oh, father and mother, if buds are nipped and blossoms blown away, oh, my parents, if buds are nipped means cut off, and blossoms blown away, the flowers took away, and if the tender plants are stripped, removed, or they of their joy in a springing day. In a springing day, when the new blossoms appear, if the birds are nipped off and the blossoms blown away and the tender parts are stripped, by sorrow and care's dismay. So, how can this be possible? By sorrow and care's dismay, all this happens to a tender plant. Can it enjoy? Can it enjoy its springing day? No. Won't that be a painful mark throughout his life? He questions his parents. How shall the summer rise in joy? Summer means here youth time. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. Spring is the, childhood days. Next, summer, youth. How shall the summer arise in joy? If we spend our spring days in such a way as birds were nipped and blossoms blown away and the tender parts of the plant is stripped off. How can we enjoy the summer? Or how shall we gather what gifts destroy or bless the mellowing year? The mellowing means the experience. How shall we gather what gifts destroy? Life is not a bundle of happiness. Life is not a bundle of joy. It's a mixture of joy, happiness, worries, work, everything. When we gather what these gifts destroy or bless the mellowing year, when the blast of winter appear, when in our old age, after all these works finished, in our old age, we should have some sweet memories to recall and enjoy. But here, this childhood experience that makes the summer hopeless, we can't enjoy the summer, we can't give much fruit in summer, and moreover, how does we gather that griefs destroy? Griefs means sorrow. Destroy means spoil. Griefs destroy or bless the mellowing year. So the experience years, how could it be blessed when the blasts of winter appear? Yes, this old age is considered here as winter. The main enemy of old age is not the health, never the wealth, but loneliness. When this loneliness that blasts in our winter, in our old age, we should have some sweet memories to recall, which will boost us, which will give us energy to get through these blasts of winter, the old age problems. But if our childhood we spent under the cruel eye of the teacher, where we don't get happiness with books or learning, how can we give fruitful outcomes in summer? How can we spend happy days in winter is the question of the boy. In this stage, I heard a story. Shall I tell you? Yes, you'll enjoy, I think. Once a boy who loved a parrot a lot brought a parrot from market and put it in a big cage. He was carrying that parrot a lot. A lot means lot. He googled all the information to care about a parrot. He was feeding it properly, giving water, watching it, giving company, talking it, everything. Then next summer, he had to go to his grandpa's house, which was in nearby village. When he handed over this parrot to his parents, instructing them, compelling them to take care well. He went to his grandparents' house, where, this is story, remember, where once he was playing with the village children, they told that they are going to a nearby forest. He told he'll also come, but they denied. He compelled them to take him with them. At last they agreed and took him there. The strange thing was, in a particular place, a sage used to come there and sprinkle some holy water on these children and make them to take the form of the animals or birds, whichever they like. Some like parrots, some like pigeons, some like peacocks, some liked deers, some like lions. They took the form, enjoyed, and at evening at 4 o'clock he used to come again. He'll sprinkle water on them and give their original form, which was not said, unsaid for the parents. The children used to enjoy this once in a year. This boy wanted to be a parrot. Yes, The holy water was sprinkled on him. He became a parrot. But he enjoyed a lot being a parrot there, but forgot to reach there in time. Sage came, sprinkled water on the animals and went off. When he came there, nobody was there. He remained as parrot only. The other children were scared of what to say. They had to say. They took this parrot to their grandparents' house and told the fact. But what's the next? His parents were informed. They came running there, cried a lot, took this parrot with all affection to their house. There, his parrot was blinking at him. He wanted to play with his sister, but he couldn't. Why? Because he was a parrot. He wanted to have some food which his mother prepared. He couldn't. Well, why? Because he was a parrot. He wanted to go to school. He couldn't because he was a parrot. He wanted to play with his friends. He couldn't because he was a parrot. Thus, 1 year passed off. He remained in the forest form, parrot form, and the next year, the parrot was taken to the grandparents' house, where the children gathered and took that to the forest, where the elders are not allowed. The sage came, the children told the fact, but the sage denied to give him the original form in the morning. He told him to wait till evening 4 o'clock. The boy didn't go anywhere. He was just circling the nearby, and at 4 o'clock the sage came, sprinkled the holy water on him, and he got his original form. The other boys, they felt really relieved. So happy they were. They took him to his grandparents' house, where his parents also waiting. They also were very happy and took him to his house. The boy did not talk much. As soon as he entered the house, he directly went to the cage, opened the door of the cage, brought the parrot out and let it fly high up in the air freely. Did you understand? Being a parrot, what does a parrot wish? To fly high up in the sky freely. We don't like to be in the cage. However affection we give, we keep pet birds. But these birds, they are not to be kept in cages. They are let to fly in the sky. So that's what he understood in these 1 year's bitter experience and allowed. This may be a story, but it teaches much for us in these school boys. If we hear this story in the school boys on the background of this poem, right? Yes. So, glossary is here. So, huntsman, hunter. Horn means huntsman, he hunts his horn. Like this. It will be like this. This is called as huntsman's horn. Got it? Yes. Did you understand the poem? Shall we go to the exercise? Yes. Who do you think I refer to the poem? The poet or the speaker, whatever you can write. Sweet company refers to skylark. Yes. What drives the boy's joy away? Going to school in summer mornings drives the boy's happiness away. Normally, the first main should be answered in a word phrase or sentence. If you can't answer in a word, you can answer in a phrase. If you can't answer in a phrase also, then only you are supposed to answer in a sentence. Remember that. How do the little ones spend the day in the school? In sighing and dismay. What does cage stands for in the school, in the poem? School or classroom. Pick the phrase from the following which does not refer the formal schooling. Buds nipped, fruits are gathered, plants are stripped, blossoms are blown away. Fruits are gathered because the boy, he considers his schooling days as bitter experience. Buds are nipped, plants are stripped, blossoms are blown away. All these give negative meaning. So they refers to the schooling, whereas fruits are gathered is the positive meaning. So it should be considered. Relate the seasons mentioned under column A with the stages of life under column B. Spring, spring day, childhood. Summer, summer is the youth. Winter, winter is the old age. What does the schoolboy love to do on a summer morning? What drives his joy away? The schoolboy loves to get up early in the morning, right? In a summer morning. When birds sing on every tree, he likes to hear the distant huntman's horn and also likes to sing with the skylark, which will be singing when it flies high up in the sky. What drives his way? The boy's joy, the thought of going to school drives all his joy away. Describe the boy's experience in the school. The boy sits in the school in sighing and dismay. Together with, he spent many anxious hours in the school. He never be happy with the company of his books or learning work. Total day he spent with the dreary shower. Dreary shower means with a very dull and sad mood. According to poet, how does formal education curb the learner's potential? According to the poet is very important. Okay. The formal education, the teaching is mechanical. In earlier Gurukula system of teaching, teaching is an all-round, teaching was helping the students' all-round development. He has to work, he has to learn, and he has to learn whichever he wants. And the teacher, he could identify the ability of the student in which section he can go, and was teaching according to that. But formal schooling, which Macaulay was introduced, the teaching is mechanical. Teaching, discussing the question answers, homework, correction of homework, test, valuation, result, finished. Carry over won't be there. Whatever we learn, that we keep in our short memory and won't change it into long memory. That's the difference between this formal schooling. The formal schooling curb the students' ability because of this. Okay, I'll continue in the next class.